Ran into some issues with editing for today's video, but I decided that since that's occurring, I would want to talk about retro achievements and a few things I want to see on the site proper. Now, this isn't specifically the sets or anything like that. We're talking about features that I think would liven it up or improve the experience overall. I actually got a notepad open for once, so we're actually having bullet points for the first time in like 8 years on this channel. So, but ignoring that, I want to focus in on probably the most important one. I think probably the most relevant one, which is on the profile. So, if you go to your profile, you can see a bunch of different features. You can most recently played, which honestly has had a recent overhaul, which I really like. Achievements unlocked, bunch of stats, developer stats, which most people won't have. But you can also see the progression status on total consoles. So, for example, PS2, I've started a lot, being only a few and mastered a few. And then you can see the most recent game, which for me, I've been working on a massive set right now, and the badges I choose to show, along with event badges. But one of the more important aspects of these games is sometimes the achievements are brutal. As we look into some of the harder ones, for example, the Centipede, which I'm missing one, I would like to be able to post, that I managed to get like the score one, for instance, or showcase it versus just the badge, which, yeah, don't get me wrong, I would love to have the badge, but showing the harder achievements in a set is also very important. For example, just going to regulation red for an example here as we go into it. If you go to some of the harder ones, specifically the 100 pointers, as I flip these around real quick, you can see defeat the Elite Four and champion on Balls of Steel and Rip and Tear. I would love to post those two achievements on my profile because they showcase a important aspect of what I valued my time in and all that. While these badges are nice and they look really cool, I think having a Hall of Fame achievement list, maybe right here somewhere or even below this, would be cool. It would only need to be 5 spots. You don't need to do anything crazy, but I think having the top 5 achievements of what you think you worked hard for is a really cool way to kind of, showcase how hard you worked, or in this case, make a joke. It doesn't really matter. It really feels much more lived in. It's just a simple change. Next, I want to talk about specifically on the filtering aspect. I'm a big like system maker when it comes to like challenges and stuff. And a lot of the time, the challenges that come up for retro achievements, it's a struggle. It is straight up a struggle to build them because I have to go through so many entries of so many games just to figure out stuff. When the filtering itself is pretty lackluster. Yes, you have ascending a Z or a ZA. Cool, I can flip that. Most, less, okay, you could hide it in general. Points, most, less. Rarity, most, less. Release date, earliest, latest, players, and then progress, which, by the way, progress is also really stupid, but we'll get to that in a second. One of the things I really wish could happen is that I can combine earliest release date with like the most amount of points, or I can do something with combo filter. That wouldn't necessarily work. I understand why. It's a direct thing, but focus on one tier and then go to the next if possible. But more importantly, make these filters actually useful, because some of these are awful. Some of these are, yeah, look at this. I can do ascending and descending, but it would also be nice to be able to maybe just completely focus in on one letter, which, yeah, you could do this. You could press Z and search, but guess what? It counts for any Z in the game. So it's like wizards that has a Z in it. There you go. There, it's now focused in, so I can't necessarily focus in on only the Z names. Yes, I can go. I'm gonna go descending, and I can. Oh, look, it doesn't work that way because the title has unlicensed and all that. It gets a little annoying. And yes, you can go into game type and specifically go retail only, but then you're gonna have to go, oh, Z, Y, okay, where's the next one? S. Let's say I want to go all the way to M's right here, and I have to focus in on that, and it's just a retail. But it gets really annoying if I say, hey, I want all of these. I want all of these, but hey, I can't focus on the Z homebrews and hacks and everything because it doesn't exist. I can't focus in on this at all, so that becomes a little annoying. It would be nice to be able to search by letter specifically on that, but mostly the progress. The progress is one that irritates me because you could do more, and this is fine. Yes, you can see this, and you can see the ones you're working on. Blah blah blah. Who cares? This one doesn't make sense as an option unless you're playing like the Jaguar or the Virtual Boy with very minimal games. This option is, look how I haven't played any of these. Like, why is this an option? It should have more than just these two, and you should be able to choose closest to 50 would be really cool, or even closest to, like, when you click less, there should be at least some progress in it. If you say progress and it says more or less, there should be another third option called none, where you can then pull up these that you haven't done. But that's just another example of filtering that I really wish was accessible, because I think it's able to kind of let you focus in on stuff that maybe you've only played one achievement on. And also for me personally, it allows me to build these like challenges that I want to do, but I don't literally spend 20 hours working the system to find games that work for it. It becomes a bit of a hassle, and it's much more of a personal thing for me to save a lot of time, but I can't be the only one out there. I just can't. Next one is going to be a very specific one. We're going to go back to the profile, and in fact I already have it open, but if you quickly look at the achievement list for this game, it's massive, right? Well, if you go into Warriors Orochi 2 and you're like, I really need to know if I unlocked a weapon, and I don't want to scan through all these weapons. I have a short amount, which means it's more reasonable, but there's a lot of sets with a lot of achievements, and I need a very specific like focus on it. So it would be really nice, instead of having a find feature in my browser, which there was one from earlier, I don't have to be like, oh, I need this ability, and then I need, oh, it would be really nice if I'm able to search by description or title in the actual the actual page of the achievement itself. Because one of the biggest problems that can occur is, especially on mobile, it happens a lot on mobile, when you find it doesn't work properly, or for some browsers, for some reason, as you scroll down and down, it does not actually load the finds correctly, so you end up having to type it in. I can't do it on this browser, for instance, but if you typed it in, and let's say I did Hanzo again, and I have it like that, it would highlight what is already loaded, which this is already too high, but it would go to like here, and it would be like, oh, there's 0. So you would scroll all the way down, and then once it's all loaded, you would then go all the way back up, you would type it again, and then it would finally find these. So being able to find based on the achievement set itself versus just the page would be really nice, especially since this can also get stuck into the RP, which is right here. A lot of this RP, sometimes you'll be like, oh, look, I'm using these characters, and so I'm looking this up, and let's say I want to go backwards for the harder achievements, well, it just immediately goes to RP. It also, if it's using the, look, there's right here, Himiko's right here, so it would immediately lock into Himiko at the bottom. If I were just to go like this, and I'm like, oh, I need to go to the latest one. Oh, it's mentioned a lot. It's mentioned, oh, there's the proficient, there it is. See, it takes a bunch of steps, and don't get me wrong, it's a nitpick at best, but it's just an ease of access feature, quality of life, which I think is very important to just making people have great times for searching these bigger sets. These bigger sets have a lot of love and a lot of work put in from the developer. I would love more players to be able to search and fully explore what they want from a set. It is very important, and I think very relevant. By the way, I'm doing good work, right? I'm doing great work. It's a long one. But next, this one is much more of the kind of set of problems that occur. So you can go to global wank? Don't say that one, but global ranking. So you go to global points ranking, and it'll pull up this one. You can also check out the Bean Games, which is a really cool stat to look at. I don't think I'm actually that high on the site. Yeah, only 236. But if we're going to focus in on this, is global I keep wanting to say something different, global points ranking, and you can actually look at all time, which you of course have this, and then you can go to weekly. You can see the weekly. The week just started, so it's going to be pretty low. I don't think I'm that high. You have 20 points. And then you have the daily, which it's going to match the weekly for right now. But if you were to go back, for instance, let's go to the second of Monday. I don't even know if I played that day, but we go there. We're able to see what the daily was. Someone popped 2,000 hardcore points. Great job. 0 masters. But I scored 58. It would be really cool to be able to see records, or the highest daily, the highest weekly, and maybe even the highest monthly if possible. I understand the monthly one's probably out there because it's really hard to check for all that. But as you look for a lot of these stats, like, it becomes incredibly hard. Like here, Pearl is doing amazing. Or if we go back even, I know I had a pretty high weekly at some point. Let's go all the way back to this one. This is all the way back in March. So let's see who is here. If I'm here, I don't know. I could be way wrong. Was I even playing? I was playing. Sometimes I'm not playing at all. But you can see, like, we can see that, and it would be incredible to see records, or like not world records, but the highest, or like the most impressive. Just a little bit to highlight certain community members that maybe don't get put in the spotlight as much because they don't play as much anymore or whatever. But it's nice to have that, and it would be a nice goal for people to go for. The highest daily would be a really cool thing. And I understand that there's a restriction, being that event scoring would probably be put into it, which, if you know, you know. But here, we could actually just pull it up real quick. Should be, is it the first, or is it the second one? Started counting it. Am I? Yep, here, look at that. Woo! But yeah, you can definitely see how it breaks. But it would be really cool to see just the records outside of event scoring, because I do think it's a pretty important thing to see, like what's a goal. But ignoring that, we're gonna go back to the very basics of retro achievements, which is the main page, and I don't really have a problem with anything how this looks. When it comes down to it, it works fine. It's always gonna be nitpicks, and whether you like it or not, who cares. But one of the features on the site is this little button right here. In the little games where you can see the consoles, you can also see miscellaneous, like all games, hardest games, most requested, so on and so forth. There's random set. When you click on it, it will bring you to a random set, which, cool subset. But one of the things I really wish was available is true achievement hunting. Can I have a random achievement? And you would think, oh, it would be under achievements. That would be cool as well if it was here, but it's not. You can all achievements, you can easy, and you can hardest, which it pulls up the hardest achievements based on retro ratio, which is cool. I'm not saying that it isn't cool, but it would be really nice to be able to go under the achievements tab and type to click on, same with random set, and go anywhere it takes me. That's actually really impressive that I got Final Fantasy 11. But when it comes down to it, pulling up a random achievement would allow achievement hunting competitions between two people. I think it would be really cool. And yes, don't get me wrong, sometimes those don't always work, but it's another way to explore the site. And I think it's actually a more relevant one than a lot of the ones I mentioned today. The records one is much more a finicky thing. The find feature is much more of a quality of life. But I think the other three I've talked about is specifically the achievement showcase, the combo filtering, or specific filtering, or just like a slight increase in what I can filter, and random achievements would be amazing. It would be able to like add a little feature that I think goes a long way, and that's the main goal of just adding, saying the 5 features I want on retro achievements. I think it really goes a long way, but that's just my opinion. Of course, not every single feature I want has been listed. There's a bunch more, but also at the same time, a lot of people have great ideas that they never share. So if you do have a good idea, there's a Discord section in the Retro Achievements Discord where you can post good ideas for the site. And also at the same time, I would be interested myself, and I will steal your idea and post it there because I am an asshole. But when it comes down to it, I just want to be able to get these ideas out there and potentially have them added. It's a lot of work and there's a lot of web design going into it, but at the end of the day, if it makes it better, it has a chance to make it a better experience, we should always strive for it. So yeah, that's it for this. A nice little fill-in part thing, and I'll catch you guys next time, hopefully.